Republicans are fighting with each other. They can't even come up with a plan. So they put in this junk insurance thing, which I'm sure some of my colleagues will talk about, which does absolutely nothing.
You can do it with us by putting this on legislation, or we are going to march into the midterms against your resistance and win and get this done.
That's Senate Democrats criticizing the Republicans' health care proposal as the Senate is set to vote on dueling bills today. The GOP plan is focused on health savings accounts for Americans. The Democrat plan is focused on Obamacare subsidies in place for the next 3 years, 3 more years. Joining me now is Oklahoma Senator James Lankford, a member of the Senate Finance Committee. Senator, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. And I know the Senate is also going to be taking up the 2026 National Defense Authorization Act, which overwhelmingly passed the House yesterday. What are your thoughts on this agenda heading toward year end?
Yeah, we have multiple things to do. We have 5 appropriation bills. We have the National Defense Authorization to finish up. We have this side-by-side that's happening right now on health care issues, trying to resolve this. And we have about 97 confirmations to do in the next week. So there's plenty on our plate. Wow,
that is a lot on your plate. Do you really believe you're going to get those 5 appropriations bills done? And do you think if you don't, it jeopardizes whether or not the Democrats will shut down government on January 30th?
I think the Democrats would take any excuse they can to be able to shut down the government again. They got lots of publicity and attention for that. So our focus is to get these first 5 across the Senate and then to start the conference process through the rest of December, early January, so that we can have them done by the end of January. We won't have them finished in the next 10 days, but we can at least get the process started to be able to make sure we can actually finish on time.
And what are the prospects, in your view, for the NDAA in the Senate?
I think the prospects are very good for the NDAA. We still have a little conversation going on about what's happening with air traffic control around the Washington, D.C. airport. The House included a new proposal that was not connected to something in the Senate that doesn't respond to actually the accident that happened at DCA. So we want to be able to make sure that that's actually fixed and we're doing that right. So we've got a little bit of work to do still on that.
And then, of course, there's health care. So does that go anywhere, either of these bills?
Well, I can't tell if they're going to go anywhere. I know the Democrat proposal is not going anywhere, but this could not be more stark, Maria, on a side-by-side. The Democrats want to have more centralized control, add even more money to Obamacare, and to send it straight to the largest insurance companies. Republicans are saying there is a vulnerable population. We want to give them greater control of their health care, and they would get health savings accounts so those individuals can control it. So this is literally big government controlling health care, or you as an individual controlling your health care. This is the side-by-side. Both those solutions would, quote-unquote, fix the issue, but they do it very different ways, and we're trying to be able to find a way to be able to actually help people have greater options rather than greater government control around them.
I mean, do you see any likelihood that we're going to have these Obamacare subsidies in place for 3 more years?
No, I don't actually. And everybody forgets that this is not just a traditional Obamacare. Traditional Obamacare in the marketplace has become so expensive that during COVID, Democrats put an additional subsidy on top of the Obamacare subsidies. That's what we're currently arguing about. It's not Obamacare even. It's the subsidy on top of Obamacare. In my state in Oklahoma, we ran the numbers on it. In 6 years, the Obamacare marketplace went up 198% in costs. At the same time, commercial insurance went up 29%. So there are real structural problems in Obamacare in that marketplace. The Democrats are trying to cover it by dumping more and more money on top of it. It continues to spiral in cost, though. We have to fix that.
I mean, isn't that right there a message that you should be singing loudly right now as the Democrats try to own this issue of affordability? I mean, look what you just said. The Democrats' plan on health care made everything much more expensive. Shouldn't this be something that you and your colleagues are talking about every day and ensuring that you're getting this message out as the Democrats try to dominate this issue of affordability going into the midterms? And that's so important, what you just said.
Yep. As a matter of fact, I come on one of the most watched programs in all of America, yours, to be able to say that exact message, to say this is really what we're up against. Americans don't feel it because Democrats have continued to put more and more tax dollars on top of it. So an individual would say, well, now it's not affordable for me, but all of Americans are saying this is an issue. This is also an issue where we have 20 million Americans on the marketplace. Another 320 million Americans are saying, hey, what about ours? Obamacare is driving up the cost for everyone else as well. So So we're trying to be able to work through this process in a way that we can actually get to a resolution, not just for that 20 million that are in the marketplace, but for all Americans.
Yeah, and I raise it because you all in the Republican Party have come up with smart, common sense policy now, and you continue to do so. So it is a messaging issue. And the fact that the Democrats seem to always get the upper hand on you all with messaging and with, them just trying to dominate the conversation on an issue that I know is important to you and I know is important to President Trump. Look, Senate Republicans have cleared the first procedural hurdle to confirm nearly 100 of the president's nominees as well. A final confirmation vote expected next week. You in the Senate actually changed the rules to make sure things would flow. If this passes, you would bring the total number of President Trump's year one second-term nominees to more than 400. Your reaction there, is this going to happen?
It is going to happen. We'll get this done. Actually, this will be over 100 people more confirmed this term than it was under President Trump's first term, more than President Biden's term as well. So we're on track to get the confirmations done faster than has been done in recent history. So we're moving on this to try to get all things done on time.
All right, let me get your take on foreign policy, Senator, because President Trump has made his boldest move yet against Venezuela and Nicolas Maduro, confirming that the U.S. forces have seized an oil tanker off the country's coast. I believe the president said it was the largest seizure of this oil tanker ever, he said yesterday. AG Pam Bondi said, quote, for multiple years, the oil tanker has been sanctioned by the U.S. due to its involvement in an illicit oil shipping network which supports foreign terrorist organizations. What do you want to say about this, sir?
Yeah, this was an oil tanker that was actually sanctioned under the Biden administration, but the Biden administration did nothing about it other than just announce a sanction on it. So this is an oil tanker that has been sanctioned for years. They've actually changed names on it. They're flying under an unregistered flag from a different country. They were altering their GPS to be able to hide their locations on it, and they're removing oil for terrorists. Other than that, everything seemed to be fine. So the administration looked at this, identified it, and said, this is a major issue. We're going to stop this rather than just ignore it, and that's a good thing to do. It does put more pressure on Maduro and his illegitimate regime that's there, but it really speaks out for everyone moving oil for terrorist organizations, hiding their location in GPS and such, to say the United States sees you and we will stop this.
Yeah. So what do you want to say about all these judges trying to stop and limit President Trump's power? I mean, a federal judge on Wednesday blocked the president's deployment of the National Guard in Los Angeles, ordering control be returned to Governor Gavin Newsom. White House officials responded, saying, quote, President Trump exercised his lawful authority to deploy National Guard troops to support federal officers and assets following violent riots that local leaders like Gavin Newsom refused to stop. We look forward to ultimate victory on this issue, Senator. More than 160 Oklahoma National Guard members were deployed to Washington for a voluntary 90-day mission under President Trump's Safe and Beautiful initiative. Your reaction there?
Yeah, we have 197 total Oklahoma National Guard. Those Thunderbirds are here to be able to actually protect the nation and protect the nation's capital. They volunteered to come here even during the holiday time period because they saw the mission as so incredibly important. So every single one of those National Guard members said, yes, I want to step up. I want to be able to help to be here. And as far as the president and different judges, multiple things have gone on to the Supreme Court. They worked their way through the process, and over again, the Supreme Court is looking at it and saying, no, the executive branch has authority to actually run the executive offices. This is how it really works in America. A single judge may step up and to say, I disagree with this, or a circuit, but it works its way through there, and the president has over and over won in the Supreme Court, not because the Supreme Court is packed, but because the Supreme Court is just looking at the law and the Constitution and saying the president's staying consistent with that.
And what about the IEPA decision? What are you expecting from the Supreme Court there on the president's use of tariffs?
Yeah, hard to tell at this point. I've had good conversations with the White House team and with the trade team, the United States Trade Representative and such. We looked at the arguments. All of us watched it with great interest on that. Both sides of the argument made their pitch on that, and I think the Supreme Court's going to come down in the next month on it. But it is a challenging decision for the White House in this particular area because they're trying to be able to thread the needle and saying this is important foreign policy, and the Supreme Court's going to have to look at it and say, is that consistent with the statute itself? No question it's important foreign policy. No question that the president has made a lot of progress in negotiating trade deals and working on peace agreements using tariffs. What the Supreme Court's going to look at is, does that actually align with this particular statute? If they say it doesn't, the team has already said we have other ways to be able to do these same foreign policy priorities, to do these same issues, to be able to make sure we're developing peace around the world.
All right, Senator, great to catch up on all of those issues. Thanks so much, Senator James Lankford.
You bet.
Good to see you, sir.